You're tuned in to our live broadcast for Study and Go Abroad Fair here at Metro Toronto Convention Centre on CIUT 89.5 FM. My name is Shuang. You have heard myself and Nicole interview schools, exhibitors to learn different ways how students can go and live abroad. We have preempted a programming of Cafe Brazil, Carabuni, and Ultra Latino for the afternoon. We're here until 4 p.m. to learn about different ways to go and study abroad. And we're going to take things and move it on to the culinary side of the world. I'm joined by Katharyn from the Cordon Bleu, here to talk about career changes, the food industry, and all things culinary. Hello.
Hello.
So tell us, I think everyone knows that Cordon Bleu is the epitome of culinary schools. How does a student prep themselves when they want to venture into this world?
Well, first of all, they have to have a natural love of food. Well, they have to have a natural love of food. And as I was saying earlier, I don't like it when people call us a chef school because we don't expect our students to be chefs. That's one of many things they can do once they're done, or they can just cook for their own pleasure. So there's really nothing that they can prepare to come to the school except for just wanting to do it.
Mm-hmm. And we were talking about how food is this medium, this universal binding factor that links us all together. We all simply have to eat every single day, and there's just so many different career paths that might be inside or outside of the kitchen.
Yes, and I think, people's memories go back to even at their table growing up with their mothers making their favorite things, or maybe with their mothers being horrible cooks. But, you have makers and eaters, and we need the makers because if we didn't enjoy eating, because it's a very social thing to do, it's something you share with other people, without the makers, we would live very boring lives.
Exactly. Yes, we can't all just be the eaters.
I like being an eater.
Yes. What I also love is that the culinary world also is a great place for career changers. People who might have had this passion for food, but they probably didn't want to take the leap of faith or the jump initially in their careers. And you yourself has actually done this transition. Tell me a little bit about your career journey.
So my career journey, I have a bachelor's degree in sociology, and then I have a master's degree in music performance. So I was a classical violinist, and I always ate and cooked and went out to eat. I mean, the thing about being a freelance musician is you learn to live way beyond your means, but you enjoy every minute of that. So I used to do wedding cakes on the side.
Amazing.
But only for people I knew because it meant so much more to do that. But it helped pay bills and vacations and things like that. So I decided to make that leap when the economy fell out in the state of Massachusetts. And I just knew they were going to hire fewer violins. So I didn't want to compete with my colleagues. So I had gone to France the previous summer on tour with a group and fell in love with it. So I decided I'm going to go to cooking school. So where do? You go to Paris. Back then, that was the only option. So I lived in Cambridge, and Julia Child was in the phone book. So she actually lived about 4 blocks away, so I wrote her a letter. And she wrote back, and she said, go for it. And one thing she said to me was just walking out my door every day would be like walking into a living laboratory because everything I would be learning, I would see in action through every window shop at every restaurant table.
There's so many great things to unpack here. First of all, I think anyone who has a love of food knows about Julia Child, and we are all fans of hers in some respect. But to know that she's so down to earth and approachable to, write you a letter back, that's just so heartwarming to hear.
Well, the funniest thing was I had a concert that week So I asked if I could get 2 comp tickets. And normally as a section player, you don't get comp tickets. But when I told the manager who I wanted them for, he was like, oh, yes, absolutely. So he gave me 2 comp tickets that I sent to her. And for the entire evening, the entire orchestra and the management of the orchestra were looking at those 2 seats. She never came because I believe her husband was ill at the time. But everyone would look out at every moment during that concert to see if she did eventually come.
That's so cool. And like, what a way to say, you know, your foray into culinary world or the switch in career was started by an interaction with Julia Child.
Yeah, well, what I find interesting about the culinary training is that you do it as a career path, but you also do it for your own personal fulfillment because you will use it yourself at home. You know, if you're a biomedical person, you know, you're not going to be doing experiments at home. But when you learn to cook, you're doing it for someone, and you're doing it for yourself and your friends at home. And I did not do what I had intended on doing when I decided to go there. I ended up doing something completely different. But that's the great thing about this culinary training is it doesn't mean you have to be a chef. It means you can do one of many things or you can create your own thing.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about what you did after Le Cordon Bleu and how you transitioned. You initially thought you were going to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and you ended up being more in the publishing world.
Yes. So when I first went to Cordon Bleu, I thought I was going to open a pastry shop. So when I finished, I got a stage at a pastry shop in Paris, which required me to get up at 4:30 in the morning. And I'm not a morning person. As a musician, I was a night owl. So that went very quickly out the window. And then I was catering with a bunch of friends. And then I worked for the Moroccan version of Martha Stewart in Paris named Yafa Ederi. I don't know what happened to her, but she was wild and crazy, and we did some amazing things with her. And then eventually I replaced someone at the Cordon Bleu who went on mat leave. And first I just did translated recipes, and I also worked as a translator because I didn't speak any, well, this is interesting. I didn't speak any French when I went to Paris, but because they translate, there's a live translator in the demonstration rooms, you pick it up very quickly. And then eventually I started working, we got a publishing contract came in, and it was signed very late. And me and a colleague in London, we had basically 3 months to write and test 900 recipes.
Which sounds really insane, which is, I guess, 300 recipes in a month. Like, that's like, I don't even know how your days are broken out, how many hours you spent.
We worked a lot of weekends, and there was a lot of food for people to eat.
Everyone wins. And who knew that, you know, going to Cordon Bleu in Paris is not only a culinary education, but also a language education?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We used to have an international buffet where the students from all over the world would prepare a signature dish as well as the signature cocktail. And I don't know who enjoyed it more, the students or the chefs.
All parties involved.
Yes.
And what's beautiful is that the school has grown so much. There is campuses internationally, and I'm sure, has there been opportunities for students to kind of like take a course here, take a course there, go to Japan, Thailand?
Yeah, so we have 35 schools and programs around the globe, including one here in Canada. The only North American Le Cordon Bleu is located in Ottawa. But yes, you can actually, if you wanted to start in Ottawa, you could continue in Paris and then go on to Shanghai. The curriculum is standardized across the board, so you could literally travel the globe with us.
Which sounds an exciting opportunity in itself.
Yes.
For the students who are interested to dive in, maybe get their applications ready, what kind of preparation should they do? What should they kind of think about when they put their applications together?
Well, our application process includes a 500-word letter of motivation, and it's basically, like why you want to attend the Cordon Bleu, what you're hoping to do. And I've read a lot of these motivation letters, and what strikes me is a lot of people talk about their food memories and what they what their mother made them or their favorite dish they would have for a holiday. I mean, it's a real touch point with your identity. So I think probably what you put into that motivational statement. Other than that, everybody starts at basic. It doesn't matter whether you have never boiled water or whether you've worked 10 years in the kitchen. Everyone starts at the same spot.
It makes it a lot less intimidating than it sounds or feels like. Yeah.
No, it's great. I've met some really amazing people over the years, both as a student and now working for Le Cordon Bleu.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a peek into the culinary world. I always love talking to you guys at the fair.
Well, I hope we see you for a tour in Ottawa.
Yes, I'll definitely take you guys up on that. Definitely will the next time I'm in Ottawa. All right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to take another quick musical break, and we're going to return here at Metro Toronto Convention Center for the Study and Go Abroad Fair on CIUT 89.5.